Yes, we are live. Good morning and welcome to the Audacity Movement. Today, the last day in the month of September, and I have a big fish in the house, my big sister, my big friend, and I'm so glad that we are here this morning. The Audacity Movement is about restoring dignity to fatherhood and ensuring that all that we needed to be done as a father, as a man, as a father, as a friend, as a male, and restoring dignity to fatherhood. And I've been talking about my 7S over the month: scandal, sex, significance, satisfaction, strategy, and everything that I need to talk about as a man. We call it the man thing. And this man thing, the conversation has gone way beyond just only men talking about it. We need to have some few women on the call so we can speak to this topic. And that's why I'm here this morning to have my friend. And I would just want her to introduce herself briefly, Madam Oluchi. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, everyone. I am Oluchi Chinonyomi Busonu, a, a woman of passion, a wife and a mother of three boys. And family is at my core. Family is a heartbeat for me. I'm passionate about it. And so it would be nice to have this conversation.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for coming on board this morning. And I just want to just give a few background. The conversation today is about talking about majorly about significance and strategy for a man, a husband, and a father. I'm sure that different roles each of these attributes plays in the life of a woman. And having three boys, so that's having four boys around you, or in quote, four male or four men around you. So I just want you to give us a background. What is your experience as per men around you, either your own father, the men around you in your space of place of work, men around you in your career growth? What role have these men played for you to make them mutually significant, and your strategy that in building up who you are today? I can come and speak to us as a man.
Okay, the first man I ever knew is my dad. Amazingly, he's still alive, and
Wow.
his role in my life cannot be downplayed in any way because he never, ever, ever allowed any man define fatherhood to me.
Wow.
He was present in every sense of the word of presence. He was involved and still is involved. Um, Never thinks that doing anything for his family is too much to be done. He has given it his full attention in spite of the demands of career, work, the demands of the offices he's had to hold and still holds. He's constantly remained a present father. And particularly because he raised us, we're five girls. I am the first of the five. And that the role of my father and the role of my father still is one that has nurtured confidence in who I am and what I believe in and what the possibilities for me are. Um, you know, I'm of the Igbo extraction, and my father is a first son of Igbo extraction. So having all girls, you could imagine all the pressure of you don't have a son who will bear your name, and you would have him work people out of our home just because they dared to question the place of his wife or his daughters. And then many a time you would even hear him say, "What's the name of your grandfather? Who is carrying on that name right now? What significance does it hold?" And so, if there are fathers, and I believe there are fathers listening to me today, while I don't um, underestimate the pressure on you as fathers and as men, And as husbands, it's important to say that you are stepping into a shoe that is a big shoe, is that calls for great responsibility and demand. We're talking about fatherhood, husband, and man. But I'll start first by saying that a man is an adult male human being. It does not necessarily imply a marital status, it's just an adult male human being. And while I talk about this, I'll talk about a husband. I'm married to a fantastic young man and who is confident in his place and space and does not think that running a woman down is what gives him authority. He's so confident, and it was very important to me in the choice of a spouse. So I'm allowed to be who I am and express myself, and that is critical. It provides for you a form of security for any woman.
Wow. A form of security for you as every woman. While I wait for my guest to be back, I want to be sure that you are listening to the conversation and you are jotting down. I'd like to make sure that this is very, very practical. People speak their mind. I'm not cajoling them. I want them to speak out of the abundance of their heart. And we're going to give the best that God has laid in our spirit and to encourage someone out there that marriage is sweet, parenting is sweet, coming on board our life is very, very sweet, and you can get this thing done. The audacity movement is here and restoring dignity to fatherhood. While I wait for my guests to join back, I just want to know that in our assignment as a father, as a male, as an individual, as what God has placed us to do or to achieve, we must rise up and get this thing done. So we must rise up, and this is the very, 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 very good time for us to do this. Let's rise up and let's shine the light on family. And I've said it over and over again. Once you're able to speak about, narrow down on attitude, narrow down on etiquette, narrow down on mannerism, I think Nigeria as a nation is half solved. It's half solved, and I mean it. Fathers, we have issues. We have our own background. We have our culture. We have our superiority. We have our ideology. But when you're coming into an institution called marriage, you have to drop those things and come. Who is the best? Who are the higher knowledge in this conversation, in this area? You might be the head, but you might not be the best person when it comes to finances. You might be the head, but not be the best when we're making decisions. We need to look through and buy into the future. And in the process of buying into the future, there's so many other conversations that you need to look into. We have come as a complement. We are here to complement each other. We are here to ensure that we do things rightly and to make sure that we are good. So let's get this thing done. While I try to nudge my guest, to join me back. I'm sure you'll be back anytime from now. So this conversation and many more are things that we need to speak to ourselves beyond the religious folks. Either you're Muslim, you're a Christian, you're a Buddhist, you are a traditionalist. As a man, you have something to offer your family. As a man, you have something that your people are looking into. As a man, you need to replace several roles. Even though you don't have a child as a whole or as a man, you have people looking up to you. I wish I could be like this brother, because they see the way you dress, they see the way you do things, they see your attitude, they see your heart. So who want to become like you, despite all your scandals? And I say everybody have his own scandal, everybody have his own issue, everybody have his own sin. But there's something that we need to do. There's something that God has called you to do. There's something that you are made for. So let's change the box. Let's think out of the box. We're not here to cage us. I'm not here to cage you. I'm not here to box you. I'm here to just express yourself. There's a pull going on between your marriage, your home, and football. Where do you exert your passion? Your passion is very, very key. And the phrase that is keeping me going on, despite all the challenges in my life, is let your passion kill you. Let your passion be the driving force around your life. So when your passion, you can scale through those walls, you can scale through those boundaries, you can scale through those boxes. People must have caged you in their mind because they condition it. They can condition you so well that they think you cannot go out. But I have a phrase in the Jewish book that says, you cause men to ride over our head, Why they are boxing me into a cage, but God brought me out into a wealthy place. So there's a wealthy place that is meant for you guys. And I believe so much in you, man. The men also cry. Men also have passion. Men also show empathy. Men also are emotional. Men also are playful. Men also are grateful. Men also are not chauvinist. Men are not just to give order. You are not in the military. You are in a sane environment of both motherhood and fatherhood to play that role. And we need to get this thing done. Are you back? I guess we join me very soon. So while I'm waiting for her, so let me continue with the conversation. The conversation is this. There's a particular thing from the daughter of Zelophehad in the book of Jeremiah, and they said, "We will not eat anything because our father had said so." Do we have a generation of children that will speak about your father? Check. I've said it over and over again. Check most of their word. The first person they mention is their mother. Even we as a male, because we sucked the breast of our mom, she was one that carried us for 9 months. We tend to resonate with our mom more than our father. Yes, he's bringing out the money, but it's not available. So what the children try to understand by psychology is whoever that is available, not necessarily whoever is funding. But as a role, as a tiny net, that mother also needs to help you as a father. Let the children know that your father has gone out for work. But this particular thing I'm doing for you is your father that did this for you. Why don't you just appreciate it? Why don't you just try to keep his ego? Why don't you just preserve his personality? Even though you are the one doing it, you can make him a king, a priest, a pastor, a prophet, a provider, a protector to your children. So when they grow up, they want to be like their father. Don't demean your father. Don't demean your husband. Don't demean that man. He's a creature of God. Even you yourself is a creature of God. But at the same time, we are come from different background, a different culture, different orientation, different that happened to us over the years and over our time that we are doing this thing. So let's get to do this thing. Okay. Okay, no problems. You can hear me on Facebook. I'm going to send you this the link again, I guess. Just hold on. Let me share the link with you again so that maybe the thing changes. Oh, wow. Sorry, the thing changes. So let me send the link to you back. So just have the link right away. The link changes and we are back. Thank you. So now my guest will come in. Now. So the conversation is ongoing. The conversation is here. And I'm so passionate and I'm looking for people. I'm looking for people. I'm looking for people that is able to let us make sure that we get this thing done to the best of our knowledge, not the best of our own knowledge, to get people to know that fatherhood in parenting is essential. Fathers are we are key. You don't need to bust our ego, you don't need to demean us. Yes, we have our own challenges. Let me tell you, I can tell you for a free, a lot of responsible men are passing through a lot. See how much work is going on in Nigeria. The man is thinking about those things, think about our food, I think all those things. But we might not be able to tell you some of those things because we are male, but we pass through issues. So we need you to help us. Encourage us for once. Encourage us. Appreciate our effort. We need it. Alicia, I've sent you something. Check your WhatsApp so that we can. I have a new link for you. I'll send a new link. So just go ahead on that new link. Okay, still the same one. So let me see. So wait, I need to have you. I need to have you. I need to have you on this call. We need to do this together. So it's an assignment that God has asked us to do, and we will do it. So we need to do this. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? So let's do this. Let's do this. So the conversation is ongoing, and we will make use, we make do of what God has asked us to do. And okay, okay. A minute, my guest. Okay, if that's the case, what I will do. There's something I want to do with madam. Okay, you're back. You're back. Great. Good to see you. Yes. Yes. Just go on. Let's just keep on firing. Let's continue your conversation. I want you to eat it head on. Network, thank you for doing that. But we always back up. We have backup. We have backup. We will do what we got to do. Oluchi, over to you. You are saying something before you left. Yeah. Before you
Okay,
left that.
um, so I had talked about the role of the first man in my life, which is my father, and then the second man, who is now the first man, really, is my husband. And said to you that he's confident in himself and in his space, and has allowed me to be. So I can speak up. I can express myself without being put down. Now, does that in any way mean that we don't have disagreements? Or no, that's not what it means. It just means that I have not lost myself just because I got married. I have not been shut down or stopped from pursuing the things that I'm passionate about just because I got married. And this is what I would like to say to every man here who is a husband and a father. Was one of the things I said to my husband as we made to commit to one another some 24 years ago. You know, I said to him, I didn't have a choice as to who my father is. I had no place. I had no place to make a decision.
Whoa. Network again, but she will be back. We are going to have this conversation together today. We are on it, and network be good. She made some silent conversations, points in that few period of her. She said her husband uh, give her wings to fly. Her husband is confident of her. Can I pull a poll out right here? You're a man. You so much believe in your goal. I so much believe in what your wife is doing, and you are so dear to give all it takes for her to get those things done. Will you be available to say yes, or you are pulling down your wife? See, once you are married, you are one. All for one, one for all. We need to get this thing done and sort it out. So that is why very, very essential for us to make sure that we're on the same page. Don't go and marry a narcissist. You need to be very, very careful. All that looks like gold, that's not it. Maybe a very gentle guy. I was saying to someone that said, I'm sure that while you are doing what you are doing, you need also to know that someone can pretend to get you married. But perhaps there's a spirit in man. You can design the intention of a man for you or look into the big picture. If you're looking at the present thing, I can borrow money to win you over. I can do a lot of things to get you back. But are you ready to get those things done? So while I'm waiting for you to make sure that you buy into the future, are you ready to go along with me? Because there are challenges, there are going to be some struggles, there are going to be some issues, there are going to be some mannerism that you don't know about me. But now we are naked. We're going to see ourselves, going to say that I snore, I'm not that very good at the back end. Will you go about those things? Yes, you like the breast, you like it, you like all those things. But by the time I started giving birth, will you be able to like my shape? You need to look out into the future. Is it the physique? This is number 8. Is it the man you or the Arsenal that's your major focus? You're not looking at the heart. And in the heart, and what is on the head, that's what you go to keep the home running 24 years. It's not a joke. So we need to make sure we put things in perspective. And as a man, we need to rise up. The new generation of men, don't look at the boots, look at their brain. Don't look at the shape, look at the contents of their heart. And let this get this thing done. Over to you, Oluchi.
Okay, so something I said was since I didn't have a choice as to who my father is, and amazingly, my father never made me and has never made me work in shame. It now became important that the man I was choosing to do life with will not bring me shame in any form. You know, because in getting married, I'm carrying on my husband's name. And the
Yeah.
question is, are you truly worth it? Gentlemen, I want to say that you guys do an amazing job. However, it is important to note that the call to being a husband and father is a deep, deep one. It is one that should never be relegated to the background in pursuit of career and money. Because when all these things get stripped off, the bottom line is, who have you influenced? What have the people around you become? Bitter people or better people? I constantly say that to say, every day as you rise up to fulfill this responsibility. See, being a husband is not just being an adult male, but one who has signed up legally to take responsibility to build the next generation. And my question is, how are you building that next generation? What are you doing consciously to ensure that the next generation is born? And I like to be very practical. In the early days of our marriage, if my husband upset me, I would wait until our faces meet with one another before I say what I want to say. And when it's looking like time is running out and we're not catching ourselves, I'll say, Austin, he just didn't feel like darling at that time. He just didn't seem like, you know, I could call him my love or sweetheart or anything. But something about his nature changed my perception to that. And it was the fact that no matter how angry he got with me, I remained baby. When he understood what I had done, when he didn't like what I had done, when he liked what I had done, on the rain or sun, I was baby. And the consistency with which he applied that made me begin to rethink my position. So I want to say to you as a father, who is your wife becoming under your watch? A bitter woman or a better woman? Who are the people who have interaction with you becoming under your watch? A bitter people or better people? Let's come to fatherhood. Fatherhood is a name that God Himself claimed for Himself. And so to put the men in that position is a high calling. It is one that should never ever be treated with levity. You see, even when we had prophets, kings, and priests, they were questioned and judged by God in the way they led the people that were under their watch, in the way their children turned out, in the kind of way they carried themselves. And sometimes, like David had his sons on the throne because of who he had become under God. And so, my question to you today would be, who are you as a father? What are you doing as a father that typifies what you want to see tomorrow? You know, he's talking about the significance, the strategy of a father, of a husband, and a man. And if I were to explain to a little child, I'll tell the little child that significance is how important something is. So the fathers, the husbands, and the men who can hear my voice today, I want to say to you that you are important for the next phase of life. You are important in raising the next generation. You are important in the way our community and our environment turns out. You are important in the way our nation turns out. So if you choose to take the responsibility of becoming a husband and a father, then remember that the greatest nation that ever exists is your family. How are you operating in that space? If I also was to tell a child about strategy, I'll be telling that child that a strategy is a plan that helps you get from where you are to where you intend to be. What things have you put in place to carry your family and your home and your society to where they ought to be? What are you doing as a person? You know, one of the times when our youngest son was still very small, he always would want to sleep off on our bed. And I used to say to my husband, this boy has a room. He's sleeping on this bed because he knows you support it. Because every time he comes to lie on our bed, I'll say, go, you have a room. And my husband will say, baby, leave him now. When he sleeps off, I will carry him to his room. Amazingly, when he sleeps off and my husband carries him to his room, in the dead of the night, he comes back to our room again. So one day, I told them I was going to vacate the room for both of them and find another room. Oh, something in my husband's head tweaked. And he said, my friend, get up. You have a room. Do you know that that was the last time our son came to sleep on our bed as a routine? Do you know that that was the last time that boy woke up in the dead of the night to come and sleep between his dad and I? Because the children watch. They know when you are in alignment. And somewhere along the line, they also understand the place of order and the place of leadership in the home. So, dear husbands, sweet husbands, fathers, and men, how are you communicating your leadership? Is it a leadership that is governed by service, or is it a leadership that is governed by dominance? You see, those you serve come with you effortlessly, are able to walk with you through the thick and thin because they are sure that you're never ever going to turn your back on them. I'm not sure where Engineer Adeola Benson is right now, but I'm wondering how many of you understand what I'm saying and how many of the things I have said resonate with you. My question is, fatherhood is a call to leadership. Leadership is influence. What influence are you wielding? Over to you, sir. We can't hear you. You are muted. You are muted. Unmute yourself.
Leadership, yes. Yeah, fatherhood is called to leadership, and leadership is influence. Thank you for that. And leadership by service, then come to you effortlessly. I said I write. I'm at the background writing. Now, because I need to show a strategy, I need to show the skill set. I need to show people that this is what I do. And like I had a conversation with a friend. He said, Benson, you have been broken as a man. You have been taught. You have changed dynamics. I said, yes, I'm a proper Yoruba man, but I'm not bringing a Yoruba man or mannerism into marriage. I'm bringing a godly virtue. I'm bringing an example of a refined man. And I said to many people, I have to let down my ego sometimes to make sure that things work out in the home because I want a better home. We can't have two general at the same time. One must able. That is my own strategy. And some men might not be able to afford that. But you need to look at the pros and the cons and the future. Am I buying the future and I want to buy the present and kill my future? And you have already said it all. Strategy. I had the same issue with my daughter coming in between the two of us. But I just this the only thing is how do we manage that? How do we manage it? What do? I left, we just do a scenario of the boys and the girls. And because of my type of job, I don't bother my head about it. And now they're all grown up. They know we don't need to even say anything to anybody. They understand it between the line and the definition of their role. So, what are the strategy? Now we have these upcoming guys coming up, and a lot of ideology of my mother, my mother, my mother, my mother. Where are the men? That's the question. How do we come in? Then what role do we now, I'm referring to myself as woman now, wife, mother, what role do we play in ensuring that we project our husband properly in front of our children? It goes a long way. What role? Over to you.
Okay. So one of the things that happens, and I want to call the women, I want to call out the women. It's important that order. There is a reason why everybody cannot be the president. Not because there isn't leadership innate in all of us. It is because there must be somebody to hold accountable. One error that I see is when the women do not respect the authority over their lives. And I'll give you again in my case, I like to use practical examples. So you think the children are not watching, they are constantly watching. And they
Watching.
become your mirror to tell you if you're on the right path. So one day, my husband traveled and he had left an instruction of where we should go. The boys had a meeting amongst themselves and came to appeal to the woman part of me. Mom, daddy is not around. Let's go here. So I looked at them. I said, I'm sorry. When your daddy was leaving, he said we must go here. He didn't change that instruction. And so we cannot go to where you want to go to. The boys left and said, oh. But what struck me was what happened thereafter. They gathered together again and said, I told you, she does not disobey her husband.
Jesus.
So they watch, so they see, so they understand what to do. And so you mess up a man as a woman every time you flout your husband's orders.
Hmm.
Whether you agree with it or not is a different
Say it.
story altogether.
Say
But
it
it's
again. Say it again.
you mess up your husband and mess up his authority in the home every time you flout your husband's instructions or orders. It's not about whether you agree with it or not. It's about order. It's
Hmm.
about leadership. And it's about the fact that everybody is accountable to somebody. So if you are not careful, you are going to set up a rebellious home. And I'm sorry to say to the women, you will be at the center of it all. You will be on the receiving end because your heart will be torn in two when a father cannot relate with his daughter or his son, and when a son cannot relate with his father. It's or a daughter cannot relate with her father. Your heart will be broken
No.
and you don't want to be caught in that mess. So why don't you give yourself peace and ensure that when a path is chosen, you align with that path until you can get a realignment with your spouse. Again, you are not in competition with your spouse. As if you bear that at the back of your mind, your focus will be that you are building a team, and a team, the essence of a team is that together everyone achieves more. And if everyone is achieving more because we're a team, then there will be alignment in the things we choose to do. So, have I
Wow.
constantly agreed with everything my husband has said? No.
No.
Why?
No.
I can't always agree because in me is a makeup of my upbringing, my environment, and my significant emotional experiences. He has an upbringing, he grew up in an environment, and has had significant emotional experiences as well. What happens is that we bring those things together and come to choose a path that will work for us as a family. So when we come to strategy, the question becomes, do you know who you are as a family? Do you know what you stand for? Do you know what you represent? Do you know your vision as a family? Do you know your mission? Are your values clearly outlined? You know, there was a reason why in the scriptures God says, write the vision and make it plain, so that there is no doubt. He even said to the fathers, as you interact with your children, tell them about those things as you take a walk. Write them on your doorposts and on your lintels, so nobody walks through the doors of your house and is in doubt what you represent. So, my dear co wives and mothers and women, we are better for it when we align with our spouses, when we allow the men to take leadership. And to our dear husbands, fathers, and men, nothing strips you of your place as a man. Nobody knows it all. And so sometimes when somebody has, maybe your spouse has greater expertise in an area, it doesn't take away leadership from you when you allow her to lead in that area of expertise for the betterment of the home. You actually create a synergy that makes you win, and it becomes a win-win for all.
Whoa, aren't she bringing it out hot? I can see the chat session coming up. Great. Thanks for everyone that have joined. My co-coach, my fellow friends. Thank you for coming on board this morning and for cheering us on. Yes, we have spoken on several areas. Now I want to go into coach, my fellow friends. Thank you for. Yes, I want to go into school, academics, career, the wings. How do we, as women, support us as husband? How do you support us? Yes, we want to give you leadership. You know, sometimes just that when you relinquish leadership to some women, they are so power drunk, and that is why there's a need for you as a father or as a guy to know the area of strength of your wife. So if the two of you are the speaking type, one person must be able to, within the space, get to like, I need to do this. I'm in that particular space. I'm speaking type, my wife is speaking type. What do? I go solo. Not necessarily I don't know what to do. And what do? I get hold of my wife. Once I have my wife, yes, women are so power drunk. We have some few women that yes, you can see them. They might not exhibit it more at home, but exhibit more in the office. And we have women that beat men. I'm bringing it up. We'll be silent about those issues. Beat their husband like silly in the house when the guy did not put his sense in perspective. But what role are we playing in all of those things? See, the strategy. What is the strategy for academic growth? Because if you don't have a passion, if you don't have a family constitution, you do a family vision, you do a family dream. So how do you want to go about it? So what do you do? Yes, I know men are power drunk. That is a yes. I know men are power drunk. But that's from the conversation. If you're looking at the chat by Ayobami, yes, but not all men. We have few men that are at the back end. Now let me ask a question: where is the wife of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala? Where is the wife of Professor Dora Akunyili? Where is the husband rather? Where is the husband of Dr. Obi-Ezekwesili? Is it not that they are not? Is it not they are not there? They are secured in their own area. Everybody is busy. They don't worry about it. When you bring it to my name. You have dropped your father's name and you are bringing it to my name. In the place of you bringing it to my name, is to benefit. So as will be your cheerleader at the back end. So that is it. How do we do that? Over to you. How do you? I'm looking at the women pastor. I want us to be, but I thank you because we are both being vulnerable. We are both being free. We are talking about our family life on live streaming because we want people to be sure that we are not coming here to come and begin to cajole anybody. Let's get this thing done and let's know what we need to do. Let's get there. Let's get to do it. You're not coming because of a head, either you're the Christian community or the Muslim community or wherever you are. We need to make sure that we have an upfront that is good. And in this generation where we are presently in Nigeria, If everywhere is on fire, your home should be your cooling system. So whatever price you need to pay for that home to be your cooling system, do it. I am not an MD in my house. I'm a man. And my wife has seen me up and naked. So I need to be vulnerable. I need to play with my children, drop my tie, drop my ego. Let's come to the table and let's get this thing done. A lot of men will be like, what is wrong with this young man? Bro, I'm not a young man, I'm 40 plus. So I have my brain. I know what I'm doing. I've seen a lot. So let's speak to ourselves. Let's women speak to her. Let them come because we need to talk about this. We need to shake, we need to damage some table, damage some ideology, damage some cultural belief system that is not running in 21st century. And I'm sure when the chips are down, both of you will bear it. Over to you.
So the first thing I want to correct is that men are not power drunk. Neither are
Okay.
women power drunk. That's a
Okay.
generalization that should never, ever happen. We may say that some men, some women may be power drunk, but to put a finality to it would not be the way I want to go. Because
Accepted.
again, what we want to do is challenge the biases. Where are people coming from? And the truth of the matter is, if we don't stop to see that, remember, I said three things. We are a function of our upbringing, our environment,
Environment
and our
and
significant
significant
emotional
environment
experience.
experiences.
So if you know that, it begins to help you see things differently. Now, one of the things that happens many a time is imagine that a man was raised in a home where his father just used to give orders and never gave room for the woman to have a say. The man was seen as the Lord of whatever it was. Nobody could question him, nobody could ask anything. That man will grow up doing the same thing, except he's exposed to higher knowledge. Now, is it possible that that man gets married to a woman who was raised from a different background and has learned the wisdom to navigate the terrain? Because in every man is an ego that should not be bruised, whether you
Plenty.
like it or not.
Not
There is the ego. And I can tell you from experience, when our younger um he was going to climb something and I said, don't climb lest you fall. He eventually fell from that place, and when he fell, he turned, looked at me and said, don't tell me you told me, at 2. Then I knew that there was no small man. So the question is, how are you navigating the terrain? Because there is a terrain to navigate. But for the men, when you also want to lord it over a woman, you are likely to trigger something. You see, I must be careful to say at this point that whatever you give to a woman, she multiplies it, garnishes it, and serves it back to you. What do you want served to you? You give her money. The money does not become a human being and walk to the market and buy this foodstuff and come and turn it into soup. She gets up, does the negotiation, comes and conjures something, and you have a meal. So, what are you serving your wife? Do you want to rethink what you are serving your wife? And to the women, sometimes the men don't know any better. Some men don't know any better because we're at different stages of development. So, how do you also respond to what happens? Like I said, I'll give you an example. In recent times, our youngest son says he wants to be a chef. My husband just stands and says, Chef Umbo, which kind chef? Who does chef pay in this climb? You know that kind of mentality. And I'm looking at him and I'm smiling. I'm not going to say what the child is passionate about is what the child is going to do. That's foolishness. That's madness. You're going to set your home on fire. Our second son loves basketball. Every time you come and see him, if he's not doing graphics about basketball, he's watching one basketball match. He's doing all kinds of things, and he's doing engineering. And my husband will be very angry about it. So when it was time for internship, I sent my son a message and said, I wouldn't like you to go to these big companies. Many a time, and it's not for all, many a time, they just turn you into messengers. Can we turn this time and get to somebody who has worked in those big companies and is building his own? He wouldn't have the staff strength, so he will be compelled to show you what to do. He'll be compelled to use you to do what to do. And then in the process, you will also be seeing the struggles that come with it. My son said he will think about it. Now, see, I was only appealing to him. After a while, he calls back to say, Mommy, have you? I said, No, I was waiting for you to tell me if you considered that good enough. He said, It's good enough. Reach out. And so, in getting to that one on one, the man sat down and observed that this child loved basketball. One of the things he did was insist that he'll do a project that showcases what he has learned during internship. And one of the things he did was say to him, Is there something in basketball that you would like that we can do from an engineering standpoint? And my son thought about a scoreboard. That singular passion was what drove him in that direction. So when my husband comes and is lamenting, I say, Sweetheart, God has given you a tool to reach this child, and it is that tool that you are fighting. Get to his room, sit down, find out why basketball is his passion, find out who his fan is or who he's crazy about. My husband just dismissed it and said, It will be Michael Jordan. I said, I'm sorry, it's not Michael Jordan, it's LeBron. Can you go and find out the story about LeBron and what it is about LeBron that your son connects with? That becomes your tool to fire him to the next stage. We come to the chef. You know, we were talking about academics. I reached out to the proprietor of the school where our son attends and said, Your son says he wants to be a chef. The man laughed and said, What do you feel about it? I said, Nothing. I'm okay. He said, What about daddy? I said, That's where the problem lies. The man says it's usually with the daddies. And then he began to tell a story of a young lady who had gone through their school who also wanted to be a chef. She got a good first degree, I think, in biochemistry or microbiology, one of them, had a first class in it, and then went on to do food science and technology as a second degree. Today, she owns her own food business. So I just took that story and said, Darling, see. So we can engage our son without necessarily fighting that and asking him to make the choices. Oh boy, what subjects do you need to be a chef? Who is the chef that you like? And then everybody was in sync. Gra no they work anything. Oh, we stoop to conquer all the time.
Hmm. 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 We stoop to conquer all the time. I have my son to like football, the last guy, and somebody
So
just
see how you
yesterday that
can use football to propel him.
somebody just gave me an NFF box, the shorts and the top, and I was thinking it's for him. I said, this one is bigger than you. And my other brother is a coach in the UK, so we have been sending video to him to watch. Do your academics, do your academy of football in school, and before you know it, still be godly and put all those things together, and we can achieve a goal together. So all about doing these things, and that's why I keep on saying is that because of not every father will do what I do as per school runs. Gra no dey work. I've seen it over time. My son will tell me that I just like watching cartoon. I said, do you know how much I'm paying on your private school? I had to sit down with the guy. You have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do that. Now he's doing well because I have to create time, make all the money. If you are not available for them, you will pay the price. And that's why I am telling. And in the process of doing that test with my son, I come to to a conclusion that let father be the one in charge of school runs. In quote, not every part, but during your schedule in the office, just drive to the school, just go to his class. You are cheering me up. Hey, my dad is here. Hey, your dad is here. Wow, daddy, how are you? And go back. You are doing something. They want teacher in school to come, a parent to come and teach. Just go there. That's my dad teaching. You are making them to get more involved. Go and drop them in the morning on your way to the office. Try once in about 2 or 3 days in a week. Go and pick them on Friday. They close early. Pick them. Go for lunch and come back home. Play with them. Scatter the house together. Do all the assignments together. Be in charge of the communication because it's not about dropping the money. With that money, you are following the process and the progress. The woman will cook, will wash their plates, wash their clothes, bathe them. Our wives are not our maid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm speaking for the women now. We need to pamper. You are Cristiano Ronaldo, and we are the coach. It is whatever we coach, whatever we translate to Cristiano Ronaldo. And when the award and the accolade come, it's not a father's name, it's your name. Don't be a fool, don't be a big odds. Let's get this thing and let's change perspective. I'll pick one or two lessons from you. Gra, not the
But
work.
can we also help the fathers here? Some
Please do
fathers
ahead.
have very difficult schedules. So they may not be able to do school runs every day. And I want to be practical and realistic. The question will be, is it possible that a father can choose to do school run once a week, once in 2 weeks, but he's committed to doing it? Because once they know that you will create time for them, then the woman can make the excuse for you. So there were times in our lives when it was just me having to do all the school run. And our youngest son would give so much trouble. In fact, today I am in Port Harcourt because of what our first son did. We went to see off a friend, and my husband was already in Port Harcourt, and we were in Uyo. And we thought Uyo would be our base. And after we saw the friend off, my first son disappeared, and I was screaming like a mad woman looking for my child. And suddenly, from the top of a tree, a 6-year-old was saying to me, "Where is my daddy? Other daddies come to school. Where is my daddy?" I say, "Your daddy? Port Harcourt,
Hmm.
here we go." He say, "Mommy, Port Harcourt for real?" I say, "For real." I didn't discuss with my husband. I just got home that evening and began to pack our things together. And my husband came home for the weekend. We had a beautiful weekend. Monday morning, when he was leaving for Port Harcourt, I just had given the children a bath, the two of them at the time, packed my bag and threw into the car. He said, "Baby, where are you going to?" I said, "Bobo, if you are living in a hole, I'm coming there. I can't raise these boys alone." He
Hmm.
said, "Baby." I said, "Bobo, if he's in a hole, I'm coming there." He said, "What happens to your job?" I said, "I quit my job. I will quit again. Please drive through my office. I've written a resignation letter. Let me go." And I went to the head of the establishment and I said, "This is my situation." And the lady just looked at me and said, "You are a wise woman. You have my blessing." And that's how I found myself in Port Harcourt. My husband was still staying in a guest apartment where there had to be 3 guests in one place. But that's how I came to Port Harcourt because I realized I couldn't do it alone. The children are looking for models in their fathers.
Hmm.
Fathers, while you may not be available all the time, because we know the effort you put into paying our bills, to putting our children in good schools, to ensuring that there is food on the table. Nothing is wrong if you say, "Okay, on Fridays or on Wednesdays, whichever day is a downtime for you in your office, you're making yourself available to be part of that child of the children's lives." It means a great deal. Today, my boys cook and I don't have to worry about it because my husband dared to. And what was it? He walked into the home and the boys were saying it's the ladies and the women and the girls that should be in the kitchen. My husband thought he was hearing jargons. He said, "What did you say?" He said, "Is it not the women that should be in the kitchen?" He just said, "Baby, out of that kitchen. You cut the onions. You cut the pepper. You cut the tomato." And they were cutting. Those who cut their finger, cut their finger. Those who were crying from the onion peel were crying. And he said, "That's what your mom goes through to put food on our table. You are not going to take that for granted." And for 1 week, I was banned from the kitchen. And he said, "Baby, zip up. However the food turns out, eat it without complaint." And today, my boys can cook because a father dared to lend support, because a father did not think it makes him any less a man to be in the kitchen, because a father took the knife, got the boys into the kitchen, and began himself to make the meals, and the children joined in making the meals. And I don't have to constantly be under that pressure. So if my husband gets home before me, he's likely to call and say, "Baby, what are your taste buds like tonight?" Now, maybe not all fathers will be able to do that, but what is it that you can do to give your wife a pat on the back, to give her some respite, to say, "We value what you are doing, and I want my presence felt in this home"? Our dear husbands, our dear fathers, we need you on this journey, because there is a reason why it is a father and a mother. There is a balance that you bring to the home. There is a balance that you bring to our children that we can't do it alone as mothers. We can't do it alone as wives. We need you. And this is me passionately saying, get involved, get engaged. Sometimes the lessons get better ingrained only because a father dared to. Can you make a commitment today to dare to? To dare to make the difference. The girls are being coached back and forth. It looks like we have a dearth of real men. It looks like our boys are losing it without any guide along the path. Daddies, husbands, sweet men, we need you on this journey. Help us to bring the balance. Thank you.
Whoa. Thank you so much for that clearing call. I appreciate you for pouring out your heart and for dishing it out well. And if I end the call or the conversation at this place, I think I've done justice to this topic. And I'm sure that you'll come back. I'm sure when I extend my olive branch again to you, you will come back. Because I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of calls, a lot of DM on this particular video, because I know you have said some things, and not because we are speaking from non-experience. I can categorically say it here online. Uh, I'm just learning behind this woman. I'm just 14 years and she's 24. So see that gap is a very big gap. And I'm learning from it. And it's a place of virtue, a place of morality, a place of understanding why you can resonate with people of like mind. So on that note, I don't know if you have any parting words or any particular. I have a question. I have one a divergent issue that I wanted to talk about, but except you want me to ask that kind of a question, we can take another 15 minutes or 10 minutes to put an end to it. Except you want me to ask that kind of question. You want me to go ahead and ask?
You are the one who says you have a question. I wouldn't know what your question is, so
No, my question is this, looking at the Gen Z, the Alpha, what we are going through at this generation now. We used to have some phrase, Bishop Oyedepo. If you do have a vision, you cannot be watching the television. Now, for parents, and I'm talking about when it comes to sex education, talk to sexuality issues, and the thing still bother me why a lot of time we have incest, we have scandals within family as a whole, or the people that we trust our children with. And from our Bible says the enemy of a man, they are members of his household. Your brother coming to the house, my daughter is sitting on your leg because of not giving you something about sex education. A lot of things are happening under you. You are not available. You don't even know anything about it. You think your children are sleeping in the night. They are playing game under the duvet. You go to their room. Once you get to the door, they know. They just pretend for you 5 minutes. Once you close the door. How do we speak to our children and bring them to speed that we need you? We might not be speaking your language, and whatever we are trying to do is for your betterment. We went through, if it is what we passed through from our parents, I don't think we're able to pamper our children this generation. This one are being pampered. We don't have TV those days, just watch NTA and all those BB. Well, this one, we have smartphone, we have that. So there's that some children are even a phone bigger than their teacher in class, or even the proprietors of the school. And anything happen in that same school, the parents will come and malign the teacher right in front of the particular child. So what are you going to do, both to the men and to the woman? Because it's a very serious issue, and that goes about their performance in education that bring about what can they offer. See so many ladies they are married, they cannot even cook. Men, we are trying. We tried. Some ladies are very, very good. It's a natural thing for them, but men that their mother taught how to do that, brought to speed on those things. And what do we say to this kind of situation as we post on to this morning?
Okay, so you remember when we talked about having a vision for your home? Write the vision and make it plain. It's not enough to write the vision. The question is, what are you doing as a person? You see, many a time we're speaking, but are we walking the talk? We're just talking. Are we walking the talk? Are we models of the things that we're demanding of our children? The renowned parenting coach, Wendy Ologe, would say she wrote a book, Connect to Correct. And truly, if you read through the pages of that book, one of the things that you would find repeatedly is that you can never correct a person that you do not connect with. It doesn't matter where it is. Just imagine yourself. Let's go away from the home, in the office space. The person who can come in and say, "Hey, calm down. Hey, don't respond," and just stop you when you are, maybe somebody has exasperated you or something, is the one who has been able to connect with you. So connection is key. Connection is key in being able to affect the lives of our children. Connection is key. A child who calls you, "Daddy, come, let's play ball." You say you are too busy. That's what is important in that child's life at the moment. And so if you stepped out to play with that child for 5 minutes and say, "Daddy is very tired, I'll only do for 5 minutes," the child feels like, "Oh, you come to me in the place that it matters most to me." So when you want to say something, that child can relate. The second thing is that every family must have ground rules. What are the ground rules that govern your home, the running of your home? Why will a child go to bed at night and be under the duvet playing with a gadget? It tells me that you have not set a rule in the home. If you set a rule, that will not happen. A rule that everybody knows and knows why that rule is in the home and what benefit it will bring. Which means that as you're setting the rule, you are compliant to the rule that you are setting. So you can't come and say to a child, a bad example. One of the times my husband left the house and all of us.
Wow. I was trying to speak about the book she mentioned, Connect to Correct. I'm also part of the Inner Circle parent. I'm a father in that particular space, and a lot of people ask me, "It's supposed to be women." I say, no. Men too can learn, and I'm here to learn, and I'm doing a lot of things for the TIP fathers and the rest also. So, while we are speaking about knowledge, you get to speak a lot of things about knowledge. You get to know why I'm asking some of these things. Like people that said in the group chat, I'm not. I'm just asking. I'm making those phrases to let her respond to those kind of notion, so that we can be on the same page. And I'm so glad that she speak about those things. She clearly hear about it, and here we are. While I try to wait for her to come in before I round up the session, it's all about. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So
So so my husband left the house and none of us in the house knew where he went to. And apparently it upset my son so much. So I have also been a culprit because I say somebody goes across to buy tomato and can be knocked down. So it's not like anybody is monitoring you. It's important that you say where you are per time. And so I'm going to talk from 2 points, from the point where I failed and from the point where my husband failed. So let me start with me. And I went to drop my husband at the airport. My sons knew that's where we're going to. But after I dropped my husband, he asked me to go and check on a family. Unfortunately, I didn't get back to the boys. So they had an estimated time within which I should have been back. And by the time I drove in, my first son was standing outside the gate. My husband had initially had landed and called home to tell them that he had landed, but that mommy had gone somewhere else. But my first son, as soon as I drove in, he said, when there was a detour, why didn't you think it was important to communicate? Is that not
hmm,
what you ask of us?
hmm,
I just said, I'm sorry. He said,
sorry.
no, when there was a detour, why didn't you think it was important to ask of us? If it were us, would you have taken it lightly?
Wow.
And
I
I
can't
was
believe it.
stripped of everything because he held me to the very standards that I had held them. So the question is, are you holding yourself up to the standards that you're demanding of your children? The other thing was that when their dad went out like that and didn't communicate, my son just kept quiet. And at a meet and after prayers in the morning, he allowed his younger brothers leave, and then he shut our bedroom door and he said, "Daddy, do you remember the time I traveled from Akure back to Lagos and you couldn't reach me? Do you remember how angry you were that you couldn't reach me? Why then would you leave the house? And every attempt to reach you, you didn't respond to any call, nor did you respond to the text messages." You know what my son did there? He used a pain point of his father to communicate his pain to his father. And my husband immediately said, I actually have no excuse. I am deeply sorry. So many a time we lose it because we think we're lording it over other people, and we fail to see that we are the first recipients of whatever it is that we dish out. Are you holding yourself to the standards that you're demanding?
I'm sure you've picked that point. the standard you are demanding of others. And just like she said, Coach Wendy Ologe, the book she was mentioning, um, said you need to role play. They need to see you do some things. When they see you do it, you exemplify it. Yes, you can hold them accountable for it. So that is where we are this morning. And thank everyone that have joined. I appreciate you so much. While I try to wait for her to just round up a conversation, I'll be here again next week Saturday, to have this conversation again. Still on my 7S, sex, scandal, strategy, uh, significance, satisfaction, and a lot. Gra, know the work. Yes, Uche, nice one for that. Odola, thank you. Ayobami, thank you. Uh, OS is there. Hope, thank you. I saw Fortune, thank you. And the likes, thank you so much for coming on board today. We will do this again. And Oluchi, thank you so much. While I try to wait for our network to come back so we can round up, thank you. Let's pick one or two things and let's get this thing done. Because we can point a finger, but the four is coming to you. You need to be the best person. And I jokingly used to say to people, if your son or your daughter don't know your secret place where you pray in your house, or a secret place where you read book, you drop your phone and you carry a normal book, you read it, you help them with the assignment. You've not started. You've not yet started. And it's very, very important that such people are in our life. So, bro, my sisters, my brothers, let's do this. Thank you so much. I appreciate you to Madam Aluchi Chin Igbuson. Thank you. I appreciate you. God bless you. Thank you. And hope to see you next week for another episode. I appreciate you and God bless you. Shalom.